Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and a very happy hump day from everyone here at Prime Sports World to all you out there. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point, helping right there, my co-host and CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. And, buddy, man, football season is quickly approaching as we're only about 3 or 4 weeks before, I think actually 5 weeks before the start of the NFL season. So we're going to be busting out our 2023-2024 fantasy football rankings. So you can use these before you head into your NFL draft. And Izzy, welcome into the show, my friend. How are you?
I am doing great. Ready for football season. I think the Hall of Fame game is what, next Monday or next week sometime?
It's the first preseason game is like a week from now. So we're getting quickly
from now.
upon it. We have 13 NFL season previews still to do. We got the Buffalo Bills show tomorrow, and then we're going to swing into the NFC East with the Washington Commanders. But we're going to be talking about fantasy football, and we're going to give you our top 15 guys at each position, so you know the guys that you need to be drafting and the guys you need to be stashing on your roster. So let's get into it without wasting any time. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. If I did not mention it, my name is David On Point Huffman. So let's jump right into those pass throwers, them quarterbacks. And I got Jalen Hurts at number 1 in my rankings. Number 2, I got Josh Allen. 3, Patrick Mahomes. 4, Lamar Jackson, expecting a big bounce back season from him now that he's got the bag. 5, Joe Burrow. 6, Justin Herbert. 7, Justin Fields. You are a little bit higher on Fields than I am, but I'm still pretty high on him. 8, Dak Prescott. 9, Trevor Lawrence. 10, Jared Goff. And then my outside looking in our top 15, Tua Tagovailoa, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. And then I got Jordan Love rounded out my top 15. And then my outside looking in, the guys that I think are on the fringe of being top 15 guys, Deshaun Watson. I just don't trust what he's going to look like after what I saw in the last part of the season last year. Russell Wilson, he's on my my S list. I will not own Russell Wilson in a single fantasy league this season, but I do think there could be value there, even though Tim Patrick did get injured in practice earlier this week. Then I got Kenny Pickett, rounding out my top 18 guys. I liked what I saw out of him last season. I expect him to get better, especially with George Pickens still on that roster. So,
yeah, man. I got Patrick Mahomes as number 1 overall in my fantasy rankings. I just think, he'll be chucking. I honestly think the Kansas City Chiefs will be in a lot of track meets this year. I expect them to be. As opposed to the Philadelphia Eagles, they may wrap it up after 3 quarters in some games. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say, David? Where it's like, oh, okay, we got the backup in the whole fourth quarter or half of the fourth quarter, which kind of hinders, like maybe takes away a touchdown or so away from Jalen Hurts. So, anyways,
Johnson, real quick, we got a question here in the Facebook comments. We will get to that question when we get to the running backs. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring it. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so Patrick Mahomes at number 1. And number 2, I got Jalen Hurts. He's right there. Number 3, I got Josh Allen. And then, number 4, I think Justin Fields is a top 5 quarterback fantasy-wise. I think he's just going to get better as a passer. You add DJ Moore, I think another year with Godly, what's his name? The kid that Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet, he just got paid, so he should have a little bit of swagger, a little bit of momentum coming in from last season, right? So, and then they improved the offensive line, and then he was the leading. I mean, he broke records as a rusher at the quarterback position, right? So, yeah, I think Justin Fields is the top 5 quarterback in this league, especially like his rushing ability, right, is what makes him stand out.
I agree with you 100%. I think
care less about the passing.
I would not be surprised at all if Justin Fields was the number 1 player in fantasy this season. I wouldn't be at all.
Especially if he gets better as a passer. At number 5, I got Joe Burrow. And then at number 6, Lamar Jackson. You know what? He did get the bag. He's a French top 5 quarterback. I just gotta see how all those weapons, Flowers and OBJ, how those guys all work together. You get what I'm saying? Like first couple weeks of the season before I can be like, Lamar's a top 5. He's definitely a top 5 quarterback. I mean, rushing ability wise, but I mean, we saw, last season he got banged up, right? So, maybe he wants to be more of a passer this season I anticipate maybe his rushing numbers to go down just a tad bit this season. At number 7, I got Justin Herbert. 8, Deshaun Watson. I'm high on Deshaun Watson. I think it's a comeback season for Deshaun Watson. We all know what he did. His last good season there in Houston. He was a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I expect a little bit of that. With the Cleveland Browns. So Deshaun Watson definitely. I got him in the top 10. At number 9, I got Trevor Lawrence. And then round out my top 10, I got Dak Prescott. And then number 11, I got Tua Tagovailoa. Led the all quarterbacks in QBR rating last year. So I like Tua this year, especially if he could stay healthy, play a full season. I like Tua to be possibly a top 10, a top 7, maybe fantasy quarterback this season. Number 12, I got Kirk Cousins. 13, Aaron Rodgers. 14, Jared Goff. And then round out my top 15 is Geno Smith from Seattle. And then honorable mention, I'm going to have to give this one. I'll give this one to, Russell Wilson, and then also Daniel Jones. He got paid. Danny Dimes got paid over the offseason. But Russell Wilson, right? Interesting that you brought him up, because I think he'll be a little bit better I think there'll be a more structure there, and more of what we know, what we're doing, more identity offensively with Sean Payton there at the helm, right? So I expect Russell Wilson to, have a bounce back year. I got him outside the top 15 for now.
Do you expect Russell Wilson to quote unquote cook?
Cook? No, I don't expect him to cook just because, like, last year. Okay, we know that Nathaniel Hackett play calling in the red zone was questionable by far. I mean, I don't even know. We were calling for him to get fired every week, right? After the first week.
I think you're being generous by saying questionable.
Okay, yes, I'm being very generous. So, but also a lot of it was Russell Wilson kind of being hesitant with his new weapons, right? So I think a year under a Hall of Fame type of caliber coach and a new offensive scheme under Hall of Fame caliber coach with Sean Payton, and then another year with all those weapons that he has in Denver, I think he should have a bounce back year this year. So I don't know if he'll cook, but he'll heat up the food.
Let's move on from the quarterbacks. Let's swing into the running backs. Let's go first with your running backs. I see we both have the guys the same.
Yes. At number 1, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's like the perfect fit in San Francisco. And he had a bounce back year, last year. I mean, he's. I look for him to be the number 1 guy in fantasy football. Just the offense and the amount of touches he's going to get in that offense. Number 2, I got Saquon Barkley. Number 3, I got Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons. I just think in that offense, he is going to be just like how Christian McCaffrey's called upon to do everything. And I know that they have Tyler Algier. I know they have Cordero Patterson. But I think when it comes to the passing game, though, I think Bijan Robinson can have that Reggie Bush type of effect. A guy that he looks up to, right? A guy that, that he, wore number 5 in college, right? Because of Reggie Bush. He has the ability to get over 100 catches this year. In that offense, I think.
I don't.
And when it comes to PPR,
he's not going to get close to 100 catches.
You don't think he'll get 100 catches in that offense? No. I think. What do you think? What do you think? Top? How many catches?
50 at most.
Oh my gosh! I think he can get 100 because I think, man, those other guys, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, they're going to get. I want to say they're going to split the carries. But what happens when it comes to the passing downs?
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think 100 is insane. Like that.
Okay, I'm being a little overzealous. Okay, 80. Okay, 75. 100. I mean, we saw Reggie Bush get 100 catches.
Yeah,
in New Orleans.
It wasn't his rookie season. Like he was already in the league.
I know. We saw it. It was his second season. What was it? Second season? Third season?
Third, something like that.
Something like that. Well, he'll get. I think Bijan Robinson gets 70 catches this year, and that's good enough to be in my top 3. And then at number 4, I got Austin Eckler. 5, Derrick Henry. A lot of rankings, that I saw from your quote unquote experts have Derrick Henry. Some of them have him outside the top 10. Man, like that's
So
ridiculous.
I got him at 3. Just a little bit of a spoiler here. Yeah, I was like, man, Derrick Henry's like the touches aren't going anywhere. He's still gonna have a billion touches. Like, I don't really
He's
understand.
gonna have a billion touches, and then the only thing
his backup just got suspended. Like the only or he just got arrested over he's gonna have a lot of carries. Like, especially their offense.
the only
I know they got the DeAndre Hopkins, but let's pump the brakes there a little bit there.
Yeah, we don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be, but I don't think that's going to affect his fantasy value. And then at number 6, I got Nick Chubb. Number 7, Tony Pollard. 8, Josh Jacobs. 9, Aaron Jones. And then round out my top 10, I got Najee Harris from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then on the outside looking in, I got Jonathan Taylor. Just as the thing about Jonathan Taylor, he's a top 10. He should be in my top 10. But I have him outside my top 10 just because of the issues that he's dealing with Indianapolis. We don't know what team he's going to go to, and we don't know what kind of fit he's going to be with that team if he does get traded. So that situation is kind of TBD right now. And then at number 12, I got Ramondre Stevenson. 13, Breece Hall. 14, Travis Etienne. And then round out my top 15, I got Joe Mixon. And then my honorable mention is rookie Jahmyr Gibbs from the Detroit Lions. I think he's trying to have a good fantasy season for a rookie.
So that swings us right into Earl Jackson's question from the Facebook. He asked, do you think Jahmyr Gibbs will have a good fantasy year? Yeah, but I would temper my expectations with him. I think David Montgomery's still on that roster. I still think David Montgomery is still technically running back 1 there in Detroit. But do I think Jahmyr Gibbs has value in a PPR league? Yeah, I think that's where his real value is. But in a standard scoring league, I'd rather have David Montgomery.
Right. Yeah. And so when I do my rankings, most of the leagues I'm in are PPR. So I do like by PPR. I don't do standard. But yeah, if what David said is right, I would go with David Montgomery if it's a standard league. But PPR, yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, why not? He should be one of the first rookie running backs to be taken in the draft. So
yeah. Swinging back into my rankings. So I got Chris McCaffrey, number 1. I got pretty much the regular people you expect here in my top 5. 2, Nick Chubb. I still expect them to run the football a lot, even with Deshaun Watson there. 3, Derrick Henry. 4, Saquon Barkley. 5, Austin Eckler. 6, I got Jonathan Taylor at number 6. Yes, I am very concerned about whatever is going on in Indianapolis, but I think he will return. I think he will play for them, and I think he will have a big role on this team, especially to take the pressure off of young Anthony Richardson starting there for the Indianapolis Colts. 7, Najee Harris. I think the volume is just going to be there for him. 8, Breece Hall coming off that ACL tear. I expect them to use the running back a lot like how they used Aaron Jones. Speaking of Aaron Jones, he's number 9 for me. Also expect him to have a really high usage rate as they try to incorporate Jordan Love into their offense. 10, Josh Jacobs. I'm super concerned about his situation. I'm even more concerned about his situation than I am about Jonathan Taylor's situation. I don't know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs. I got him at number 10. And then 11, I got Tony Pollard. 12, Kenneth Walker. Was one of the arguably offensive rookie of the years last year. I know Seattle took a running back fairly early in the draft, so I expect some sort of time split there. But I still think he's going to have fringe top 10 value this season.
Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, Zach Charbonnet should split into his carries, but I'm not too worried about it.
13, Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I'm 10 spots lower than you on him, and I'm a Atlanta Falcons supporter this season. I think they have something special there, and they're going to run the football a ton. But 100 catches from him this season, or even 75, seems like a lot. 14, Ramondre Stevenson. No more Damian Harris there in New England. So all of those goal line carries that were being hawked by Damian Harris are going to go to Ramondre Stevenson. 15, Joe Mixon, same as you. And then my outside looking in, Travis Etienne, Dameon Pierce, and Miles Sanders now playing for the Carolina Panthers as they tried to, basically have a rookie quarterback. Same thing with Dameon Pierce. I mean, you got a rookie quarterback there. You're going to want to have a lean on a running game. I think that's what both those teams will do next season. Moving in from their wide receivers, and my number 1 guy is, of course, Justin freaking Jefferson. Best wide receiver in football by far. Maybe not by far, but by a considerable margin. He's better than any of the other guys on the list that I have here. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. He's super dynamic. He's probably the fastest wide receiver in the NFL, maybe even ever. 3, Jamar Chase. 4, A.J. Brown. 5, Stephon Diggs. 6, CeeDee Lamb. 7, I have Cooper Kupp falling all the way to 7. I'm just not sure what the Los Angeles Rams are even going to look like this season. They haven't really addressed their offensive line problems. Matthew Stafford's not getting any younger. I'm not sure what the Rams are going to be like on offense this year. 8, Devontae Adams. 9, Garrett Wilson. 10, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Rounding out the top 10 there, as I expected Detroit to continue passing the football a lot, and he's going to be the best wide receiver on that team. And then my number 11, I got Calvin Ridley. Yeah, I expect him to have a monster season as he bounces back from that suspension. 12, DJ Moore. All the reporting out of Chicago is that DJ and Justin Fields have looked incredible together. He was a top 10 wide receiver almost every season he was in Carolina. He's arguably has a better quarterback now than he had the last 3 seasons in Carolina. 13, Keenan Allen. 14, Jalen Waddle. 15, Deebo Samuel. And then my outside looking in guys, I got Jerry Jeudy. Expected to step up with Tim Patrick being out now. Chris Olave trying to build on his rookie season. And DK Metcalf looking to build on a strong season with Geno Smith as the quarterback there.
Man, yeah, but you know what? I'm on Ross St. Brown. You got me thinking about that one a little bit because when I was doing my rankings, I was like, man, he's a top 10, top 15 type of guy. But with Jameson Williams, I just kind of get a little worried at how much production he's going to.
He's going to miss the first 6 games of the year.
Yeah, when he comes back though, it just kind of it just kind of gets me weary a little bit. But I got him in my honorable. I got him he's a top 20 guy. In my book,
I agree with you. I got him.
I just think all these guys I have on my rankings, they're all going to get like 1,000 yards or more.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's that hard to get 1,000 yards at the wide receiver position
anymore. Yeah,
like if you want to be a top flight wide receiver, like you need to get touchdowns. Like 1,000 yards in the NFL is really basically nothing now.
The only one on my list I think is Deebo Samuel, where it's like I think he may, like, I don't know the quarterback situation. I mean, he should get 1,000 yards receiving, but his rushing ability.
Chris McCaffrey's kind of neutralized some of that rushing ability. He's also, Mitchell's going to be back this season fully healthy. I am very concerned about Deebo Samuel, and he's probably on
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, another season. He's going into his 4th season, gets better every single year. Deebo Samuel's probably on my wide receiver list to probably avoid. Like, I'm going to let somebody else take him next season.
Damn, they're all wide receivers. Number 1, Justin Jefferson. Number 2, Jamar Chase. Just like they're back at LSU, baby. Yeah. And number 3, Tyreek Hill. Yes, like David said, the most dynamic wide receiver probably in the NFL. Number 4, Cooper Kupp. I am still high on Cooper Kupp just because of the fact I think that Rams line, the Rams offensive line did improve a little bit. I think, getting a guy like Steven Villa in the draft, I think it improved just a tad. And I think if you can get any glimpse of what, Matthew Stafford was 2 years ago, I think Cooper Kupp, can have a good year. Another top 5 season for him. And then round out top 5, Stephon Diggs. And then CeeDee Lamb at number 6. Number 7, I got A.J. Brown. Number 8, I got Devontae Adams. 9, Garrett Wilson. And then rounding out my top 10, I got Jalen Waddle. 2 top 10 guys for Miami this year. That should be a consistent thing. And then number 11, I got Devontae Smith. Number 12, Chris Olave. 13, Amari Cooper. And then right on my top 15, I got DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel, the guy I was just talking about. And then honorable mention, I got Calvin Ridley, Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Calvin Ridley is interesting, man. He had before the suspension, he was having a great career in Atlanta. And I think that, with a guy like Trevor Lawrence, a top 10 quarterback, I think Calvin Ridley's going to have a really good season at the fantasy level. I'm not worried about, Christian Kirk. I think Calvin Ridley easily supersedes him as number 1 wide receiver on that team.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So Calvin Ridley's my honorable mention. And godly, T. Higgins, anybody of those guys, Mike Williams,
wide receivers are extremely deep. There are literally 40 guys you can probably start from a week-to-week basis.
DJ Moore.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Keenan Allen, there are a ton of wide receivers that are going to have value this season from a week.
Yeah, I forgot Keenan Allen. Yeah, for a guy like Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert has Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, Austin Eckler, Who's the other guy? The kid from TCU that they just
I mean,
drafted.
they just got Quentin Johnson. They also have
Quinn Johnson. Yeah.
Joshua
So
Palmer, who's still on that team, who's a
Josh
very
Palmer.
talented one. I mean, they got a bunch of guys. Like, I mean, you can go through the list.
So, like,
I mean, none of us have any of the Raven guys. Like
Yeah.
Flowers can be really good. I mean, we're all expecting Rashad Bateman to take a major step forward. OBJ is also on that roster. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is that you got teams that have top 25, top 40 guys, but you know when you look at our list, I look at this list of wide receivers. I think this list of wide receivers. I mean, they're gonna have the best year in terms of touchdowns and yards on their team in terms of
I agree.
impact,
I
in my
agree with you
opinion.
on that. I mean, Chris Olave had 1,000 yards receiving with Andy Dalton throwing him to him most of the season.
And
So,
we're not saying that Keenan Allen and Mike Williams aren't top 20 guys. I just think that when I look at the other guys that may be ahead of them, I mean, it's close. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's like a heavyweight match, like if there's a couple swing rounds in the match, I mean, you can go either way with Keenan Allen or a guy like, Chris Olave or something like that. You know what I mean? So.
agree with you. I also think the ceiling is a little bit higher on a Chris Olave. I think the floor is probably a little bit lower than on a Keenan Allen, because I think Keenan Allen, as long as he can stay healthy, you kind of know what you're going to get from him. Chris Olave has a much higher ceiling, at least for this one particular season. I think he's only tapping into whatever his potential is going to be. Moving on from wide receivers, let's talk about them tight ends, those other pass catchers. And we both have the same guy at number one, and this will probably be a theme for most of the year. The same guy will be number one for most of our rankings this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Travis Kelce probably number one until he puts the gold jacket on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number two, I got Mark Andrews. I gotta show Mark Andrews some love because he might be number 3 or number 4 on a lot of guys' lists. Most of the year, but I think he's the number 2 best tight end. I think he's the second best tight end in the league, hands down. George Kittle was, just because George Kittle was making. I mean, when George Kittle was healthy, I mean, there's no argument you could put him above Mark Andrews. But then number 3, I got George Kittle. Number 4, T.J. Hockenson. And number 5, I got Dallas Goedert. Then on the outside of number 5, number 6, I got Kyle Pitts. Number 7, the Wall, Darren Waller. Number 8, they got Pat Freiermuth. 9, David Njoku. And then right on my top 10, Evan Ingram. Had a pretty good year in Jacksonville last year. And then on my outside of my top 10, I got Greg Dulcich and Dalton Schultz and Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz switching to a new team in Houston. He would actually be a top 10 tight end if he was still with Andy Dalton. I don't know how that CJ Stroud pairing is going to be like with him, but I still think he's going to get a high volume amount of catches just because rookie wide receiver, they're going to be looking for a safety valve, and what's his perfect safety valve is a tight end or a running back. And number 13,
especially Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz.
Yes, especially Bobby Schultz, cousin Dalton Schultz. And number 13, Tyler Higbee. And number 14, another rookie makes the list. Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Buffalo, is a top 15, I think, tight end this year. I mean, it can go either way with him and Cole Kmet. I got Cole Kmet at number 15. He just got paid this offseason. Had a pretty solid year last season. I expect him to be, take another step this season. So I got him as a top 15 guy. And then honorable mention, Irv Smith Jr. in Cincinnati. I think he's going to be the number 1 tight end there.
I mean, no disrespect to him, it shouldn't take much to be the number 1 tight end there. They don't have anyone else on the roster.
They don't have anyone else there. So when I look at, let's look at a guy like who they have last year, Hayden Hurst.
They had Hayden Hurst last year. I mean, he had
and he played pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, he put his production on it, but the big question about Irv Smith has never been really been talent. It's been his ability to stay healthy.
Exactly. So if he can stay healthy, David, I'm going to put him in my honorable mention because actually, if he can stay healthy, he has the talent to be a top 10 tight end in this league, fantasy-wise. I think he has – look, I love Irv Smith's skill set. I think he's fast. I think he's big. I think he can run seam routes. I think he can out-bully – I think he can outrun your safeties. I think he can bully your linebackers in the zone. I love Irv Smith. but he needs to stay healthy. And if he does, I think he's on a perfect team in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, who, look at what he did for Hayden Hurst last year. Hayden Hurst had a pretty decent year last year. I think Irv Smith, if he can stay healthy, can have an even better year than what Hayden Hurst last year. So,
swinging in from your tight ends, let's talk about mine. I got Travis Kelce, of course, number 1. 2, I have George Kittle. I just think George Kittle is the second best tight end in the NFL. He just is. 3, I got Mark Andrews. I am slightly concerned about Mark Andrews because Mark Andrews was there when the Baltimore Ravens didn't have any pass catchers out there. They've added Flowers this offseason. They've added OBJ this offseason. You expect Rashad Bateman to stay healthy this offseason. I'm just not sure what his pecking order of this offense is going to – if it's going to remain the same as it has been the last couple of seasons. I expect his target share to be kind of eaten into a little bit there. I just trust George Kittle a little bit more, especially if he's healthy. 4, it's the Darren Waller. I expect him to still have the same production in New York as he did in Las Vegas. 5, T.J. Hawkinson. 6, Dallas Goedert. 7, Ingram. He got paid this offseason after he produced a really good season in Jacksonville. 8, Kyle Pitts. 9, David Njoku. 10, Pratt Freiermuth. And then the outside looking in, or top 15, Cole Kmet. I do think he's going to build on that rapport he has with Justin Fields. Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz, Tyler Higbee, Juwan Johnson from the New Orleans Saints, upgraded the quarterback position. All he does is catch touchdowns. If he catches touchdowns, every other week and puts in 50 yards a week, that's pretty good value there at the tight end position. And then 15, I got Gerald Everett. I'm still all in on him. I think the talent's there. I think the Chargers, they're going to be looking for him. And then outside looking in, I got Dalton Kincaid, Mike Gesicki, who I used to be very high on. I've certainly soured on a little bit over the last couple seasons. But his role in New England should be very interesting next to Hunter Henry there in New England. And then I got Hayden Hurst as he's now in Carolina. He should act as a very good safety valve for Bryce Young there in Carolina. So we'll see how that ends up shaking out. We do have a Facebook question about another tight end. This guy, Earls Jackson, asked us about Sam Laporta. What do you expect out of Sam Laporta this year in fantasy? He's a member of the Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions. So who's the other tight end that was filled in pretty admirably when they traded T.J. Hawkinson?
Hold on.
Godly, I can't remember his name. So they have another tight end from last year. What's his name? Euro Jackson. They have another tight end from last year.
Brock Wright and James Mitchell are the two guys that were on the roster from the season before. They were fine, but neither of those guys were special.
So Sam Laporta,
number 1 in the depth chart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he should be the number 1 guy. I think Sam Laporta should have. Man, there's other rookie tight ends that are better than Sam Laporta. I just think that I think in Detroit, they won't rely on him as much as like maybe Dalton Kincaid may be relied on in Buffalo, or maybe rookie tight ends.
Or Michael Mayer in Vegas.
Or the 2 tight ends in Green Bay that they just drafted. So
I agree with you.
That's my
moving on to that, let's talk about them defenses. Our top 2 are the same, but flipped. I got the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1. I just love that defense. I think they're going to create turnovers. 2, San Francisco 49ers. 3, the New York Jets. This was a top 5 unit last season. I expect that to continue, especially now with a better offense. You expect them to be on the football field even less. 4, Dallas Cowboys. 5, Buffalo Bills. 6, Pittsburgh Steelers. 7, Denver Broncos. And my 8, Baltimore Ravens. 9, Miami Dolphins. And 10 is the Cleveland Browns. I expect that defense to take another step forward. And then my outside looking in, I got the Saints, Packers, and Commanders. Commanders, the only thing they have going for them is their defense. So if their defense is good, they'll be solid this season. I don't expect them to be all that good, but
they're in my top 13. I only made 12 though. So yeah, San Francisco's number 1, Philly's number 2. I mean, we can flip flop like all season. They'll probably be going back and forth in between those 2 defenses. Number 3, Dallas. One thing, was it turnover differential for Dallas, right? I mean, that team turns teams over like crazy. And then also I think the special teams aspect you add to it, their top 3 defense. Number 4, Buffalo. Number 5, New England. New England was a sneaky top 7 defense last year. I mean, they're pretty good. So New England's number 6. And number 7, I got number 6, I have the New York Jets. And number 7, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Then number 8, KC. Number 9, Denver. And then right on my top 10, I got the Miami Dolphins, and then my honorable mention, I got Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I just think that that AFC North is going to be a brutal division to win, man.
But yeah, that's been our fantasy football rankings for the 2023-2024 NFL season. I'll let you know how you think what we did with our NFL rankings. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to give you guys fantasy football rankings every single week of the NFL season. We're also going to do a couple shows before you guys, so you guys draft your teams. Just some advice here and there. So if you don't want to miss that content, please like, share, and subscribe. Those episodes will air on Wednesday nights. So keep an eye out for that content. I'm David Huppin. Right there is my good friend, Mr. Israel Rivera. And Izzy, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bring in the heat.
And we're going to be bringing in the heat 365, 24/7, including tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills in a season preview episode. So keep an eye out for that content. You guys all have a good night and stay safe out there.
Peace out, guys.